on the hills of the mountain of dreams, telling myself it's not as hard as it seems.
On this episode of From One Player to Another, we have singer-songwriter Chaz West of Westbound. You've seen him with Jason Bonham, Lynch Mob, Resurrection Kings, and countless others, and today we have him in our studio. This is Greg Marr with Go DPS Music Live, and this is From One Player to Another. Welcome back to Go DPS Music Live. This is From One Player to Another. This is Greg Marra, and in the studio today I have Chaz West. Chaz, how you doing?
I'm all right, Greg. How are you?
Doing great, man.
Good.
The new record, Westbound, Volume 1.
Right.
I've been listening to that over and over since I knew I was going to interview you, and I just love the production of it. You know, you're singing. This isn't pitch correction. This isn't a computer.
Oh, no.
The natural sound of your
school,
voice
baby. Oh, yeah.
is what's coming out.
Right.
You have a particular thing I always liked about you. I feel like I've seen you at a couple Bonzo bashes, definitely Lucky Strike, Hollywood the last 20 years I've lived here.
Yep.
And I always liked the sound of your voice in that it didn't have anything that was in the way. It was very nice and open, powerful, airy.
Thank
the
you.
top register, it's really amazing. So just wanted to start off with that because I really like your voice.
Thank God I got that. It was either that or be a porn star, one or the other. So, right.
Well, let's start with Westbound, Volume 1.
Okay.
Talk a little bit about that. Who's on the record? Who produced it?
Roy Z, we had met many years ago when I was with Jason Bonham Band, and he was playing with Bruce Dickinson.
Yes.
And we were touring in South America. This was in the mid to late 90s. I think it was about 96, 97. And we became friends that point on. We would, after the big shows, we'd go to little bars and we'd get up and jam with the bands in South America. So we did a whole tour. And we kept in touch and we got to be friends. And then we did a record years ago called Tribe of Gypsies. And I sang on that record and co-wrote that with him. And in fact, the drummer in the band, Dave Marino, who's Dave Chili Moreno, he was in that band also. So Z and I go way back, right?
Yeah.
So what happened is Serafino, the president of Frontiers, came to me, and he said, I love your voice. I love your ideas. I want to do something just with you. And he says, well, but I want you to work with a producer, co-writer, because I think you're better that way. And I said, I agree. And he had someone in mind, but it didn't work out. And he said, let me know. If you've got somebody in mind, let me know. So I came to him with Roy Z, and he said, absolutely, if you can get Roy Z. And I go, look, we've worked together before. We're friends. We know each other quite well. So, it really came together and worked out.
Raising the stakes, keep on playing the game. Some say no win in the end, it's the same. Never surrender.
Yeah, it sounds sonically really good.
Thank you.
really, there's a lot of depth to it.
Yeah.
The thing that I normally listen for is, when a band is phoning it in, they're playing their intro, A, B, solo, outro, they're done.
Right.
This record isn't like that.
No.
At all.
Not at all.
It's like you took the song, this is what it seems like to me. You took the songs, you wrote the songs,
Right.
and then you went on tour and played them for a year. That's what it sounds like to me. And then you came back and you're like, hey, we figured all of this great stuff, we're going to put in these songs. That's what these songs sound
Thank you.
like.
That's
Fully
like
fleshed
a
out
huge
tunes.
compliment, because
Yeah.
usually most bands, the best record they have is the first one, right?
Yeah.
Because Guns N' Roses, right? Perfect example, because they've been playing it for years before they even put it on a record. So, it wasn't like that, unfortunately, but we have played out with it since, but we wanted to go for that old school feel, so it did come across that way. So thank you for letting me know that we did accomplish that.
Absolutely. And dynamically, it sounds really nice. There's some harmony leads in this. Is Roy Z a part of like the harmony solos on this record?
Yes,
Is that
he is.
mainly Jimmy Burkhart?
It's Jimmy, it's Roy Z and Jimmy.
Yeah.
I brought Jimmy in. I met Jimmy through another friend, and I was like oh, I want this guy in my band. I mean, we would do jams and cover stuff, and I even got him in the Moby Dicks for the Bonzo Bash and stuff, but I was like, no, I found my own Jimmy Page.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? You know what I mean?
He's great.
And so, and I knew he and Z would get on well, as far as personalities and everything. And it did. It really clicked. It really went well. And he was like, oh yeah, I'm totally, I love Jimmy. Jimmy's great.
It translates. Jimmy's one of my favorite guitar players too, and you're right about the the Jimmy Page, but
he's not a carbon copy. Exactly. He's got a little of that, a little Joe Perry, a little
dude can rip.
Exactly. A little
He can
Brian
play.
May, exactly.
Yeah.
But I just, but yeah, and he's of course very busy producing and everything. He wasn't always going to be available for live shows,
Right.
and I knew Jimmy would be,
Absolutely.
and he was the guy, and his personality is such a great guy, and
Yeah.
everybody gets along with him,
Oh yeah, great.
And he rolls
tone.
with the punches, and
Yeah.
he's a real team player.
Les Paul threw a vintage Marshall.
Right.
His tone is incredible.
Right. I agree. This is the third single from the Westbound Volume 1 record. I'll give you a little teaser. This is called Beautiful Dream. Beautiful dream, sultry queen, girl of my fantasies. Your eyes I see, air I breathe, you are a mystery. Is it real, is it true? An illusion I drew, a fading memory. Well, life can be cruel, was I just a fool under some levity? Well, tell me from your heart, can we make a brand new start? Oh, do you feel it in your heart? Although we're worlds apart, tell me from your heart. Yeah.
You've got Dave Moreno from Puddle of Mud.
Dave Chili Moreno on drums.
Yeah.
I've known Dave for, 25, 26 years. We were kids,
Yeah.
local bands. I mean, I used to live at his house when I was a kid, when I
Let's
first moved
revisit
out
that
here.
idea.
What's that?
I really want to revisit the idea of how you came into the music industry. When we do our rewind, we'll go back to that because
Yeah.
I'm very interested. Because I only know you, Chaz,
Right.
from we're going to have this amazing produced show, Bonzo Bash, whatever it is.
Right.
The thing that's cool about that is that clearly they brought you in as the A-list singer.
Right. Well, I guess because, you got to do like the Bonzo Bash it's like 4 to 5 hour show.
It's
And So
amazing.
I had to prove myself there,
Definitely.
Granted, I had the credits from playing with Jason Bonham and, Bonham Band, but still, it was like, okay, can he do 4 hours of Zeppelin though? So,
Who else is in Westbound?
Okay, so I said Dave Chili Moreno, who
Right.
I've known many, many years, and like I said, we did Tribe of Gypsies, and he's also plays with the band Puddle of Mud, so he's my bro.
Yeah.
Jason Cornwell, who I've met a few years back, doing some stuff in the New England area on bass, and he's a great bass player. He played with Eric Martin for a bit.
Wow.
And and he's just a great guy. Also,
Yeah.
he's really, he's like team player also. And
Absolutely.
So, and keyboards. I just got a new keyboard player. His name is T-Bone, and he played with Government Mule for a bit.
Oh, brilliant.
Also played with Steelheart.
Yeah.
So he just kind of, joined the family, the family, as they say, right? So, yeah. And he's great. He's, I've had a few guys that have come in and out and they're great also, but like T-Bone's like, I want to be in the band. I was like, okay, you're in.
Yeah.
All right, you've proven yourself. You're in. We did, we did an online streaming thing with him, and I'd already played with him before. So,
Was that the Monsters of Rock cruise?
yes, that's correct. The
Online,
Monsters of Rock Cruise
yeah.
online streaming thing we did last month.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, we were down there for the, I don't know
Right.
what to call it, the setup for it.
Right.
Yeah, the back
I
line.
remember. Yeah.
So let's talk about the record a little bit.
Okay.
I always listen for pitch correction in vocals. I always listen for it, and I
Right.
always hear it. No matter how skilled it seems an engineer is in being able to use that tool
Right.
when they need to, I can hear it, but I don't hear that on your record.
Nope. No,
Talk
old
about-
school all the way. No.
Exactly. Can you talk about that a little bit and, sort of your process for recording vocals?
I'm old school. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying I have perfect pitch. I was told that many, many years ago. But I'm pretty close. I'm pretty
Yeah,
much
yeah.
there, and I can hear. Okay, no, let's redo that. Let's
Yeah.
fix. Let's fix. But there's nothing, none of that. It's all old school, and that's just the way I was brought up and what I learned.
Me too.
You
I
know?
always felt like
I mean, if you can't sing on key, you shouldn't be fucking calling yourself a singer.
Exactly.
Okay? You know?
Well, the other thing too, Chaz, is, you know, if you listen to those old Motown records, or listen to old sort of
Exactly.
like, you know, music industry records, and what you hear is a little bit of sharp, a little bit
You
of
see,
flat.
here's some sharp and flat, some bum notes, but sometimes it's cool.
It's the style.
Even
It's
some of the 70s records, some
Right.
of my favorite bands, Zeppelin, Aerosmith. Oh, I mean, I love, but it was more the attitude
Yeah.
and the style, like you said, that comes across.
Yeah,
As long as that comes across, you know.
It's the human
it all
factor, I
works.
think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think people appreciate that more. I think, unfortunately, things have gotten way too mechanical
Right.
and fake, you know.
Right. So what's on the horizon for Westbound? I mean,
Well-
obviously we're all parked right now.
Yeah,
but,
exactly. Right. We were supposed to have been on the East Coast last week and this week. Of course, everything's postponed, you know. So we're going to do another online streaming thing right here at Go DPS Music at the
Can't
end
wait.
of this month.
Yeah.
So, because at least let the fans know we're still around, we're still out there, we're dying to come out and play for you once it's safe for everyone, and and we can all have fun together.
Can't
So,
wait. That's going to be a lot of fun. Looking forward to
Yeah.
hearing
Yeah.
Never Surrender.
Yeah, that was the
Dance
first
of Life.
That was the first single, correct?
I love these singles that you've picked. And
Thank
the
you.
songs stick in your head. Those
Thank
choruses
you.
stick in your head.
It's a hook, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's good, you know, because sometimes they're like your kids, right? You know,
Yeah.
the songs, and you get attached to them, and you go, well, I wonder if it's just, you know the old saying, you got a face only your mother could love, right? It's like, maybe it's just because I think it's, but then when you hear from outside people that aren't involved in the production of it or the making of it or the writing of anything, it makes you really like go, okay, I hit the nail on the head.
Yeah,
I hit the bullseye.
It's fantastic. I like it
Yeah.
because I always like a record that I can listen to. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I know I'm going to have to go back and listen to that part again.
Right.
And then the first time you're like, wait, okay, that's a rewind song. We're going to have to go back to that and listen to what they were going for there. And this is one of those records that has a lot. You're going to want to listen to this a couple times.
Yeah.
The first time out. Put it on repeat.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you again. Really.
You bet.
Hire you as my publicist, Greg.
So, off record at this point, anything else about Westbound?
At this point, I mean, there's a lot of things, we might, and it all depends upon what's going to happen,
Yeah.
I mean, there's shows that we had booked all the way up through the end of the year.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe in the fall we'll still be able to do a couple of them. If not, we're going to do them next year.
Yeah.
We might end up doing the Monsters of Rock cruise next year if that happens.
Right.
And of course, NAMM if that happens. I mean,
I know.
everything. It's as we all know, right? It's a
Who
day
knows?
to day, week to week thing.
Right.
It's all up in the air. Like, well, maybe.
Yeah.
So we'll do another record eventually. I probably want to wait till 2021, 2022.
Yeah.
Before that, now because of what's going on.
Right.
Because we were supposed to be out promoting this record all year, and now that's pretty much, except for we had a few shows at the end of last year.
Right.
And the beginning of this year, is going to be put off till next year, or at least for a few months.
Right.
So,
Well, Frontiers Records, 3 singles out on Volume 1. Check those guys out on YouTube. Check them out on all the streaming sources. What about vinyl? Do you guys have vinyl for this?
yeah, unfortunately, they haven't done that yet.
Oh,
I know.
man.
I want them to. I'm like, come on.
I'd love that.
I love that too. I'm old school. Like
Yeah, me
you.
too.
So I was
Yeah.
like, I still might be able to convince them.
That would be cool.
Yeah, maybe.
You've got a sale here.
Right. There's a song all about the beautiful state that we're fortunate enough to live in. Go for it, Jim. Spend my days with a woman and kind, smoked my stuff and drank all my wine. Made up my mind, gonna make a new start. Going to California with an aching in my heart. Someone told me there were girls out there with love in their eyes and flowers in their hair. my chances on a big jet plane. Never let him tell you that it's all the same. Ooh. Oh, sea was red and the sky was gray. Wonder how tomorrow could ever follow today. Yeah. Mountains and the canyons start to tremble and shake. Children of the sun begin to awake. Oh, people, watch out! It's even the wrath of the gods got a punch in the nose and it's starting to flow. Think I might be sinking. Throw me a line if I read you the time. I'll meet you up there with the path runs straight and high. Oh, everybody get high. Found a queen without a king that said she plays guitar and cries and sings. La la la. Ride a white mare, footsteps of dawn, trying to find a woman who's never, never, never been gone. Standing on the hills of the mountain of dreams, telling myself it's not as hard as it seems. Ooh. Oh, baby.
Okay, Chaz, now we're into Resurrection Kings, Vinny Appice on drums.
Right.
You've got Craig Goldie on guitar, Sean McNabb on bass, yourself on vocals. Man, there's no weak link.
Yeah.
And I love the tunes. The songs are written really well on the first, 2016, right, was the first? Yeah. Can you talk about that band? I think you have some things in the works for another record, right?
Actually, well, yeah, we just finished this. I just finished doing the vocals for the second record, so it probably won't be out till I think the end of this year or the beginning of next year. But it came about. It was a Frontiers music.
Okay.
Serafino Perugino decided he wanted to put this together, and Goldie and I had worked together before. We had an idea of doing something a few years ago.
Yeah.
And then he got busy with Dio Disciples, and I got busy doing some other things. But it turned out the first single, Living Out Loud,
yes,
was one that we had written years ago, and we wanted to do something with, along with a whole other batch of songs that we written and recorded, and it didn't happen. And then this came about, and so I was like, oh, it's a perfect opportunity, you know? And Vinny and I had played together before, you know. They had a thing called Hollywood All-Stars.
I remember that.
Yeah, with late, great Jimmy Bain, Carlos Cavazo. Mm-hmm. And then we also did an original thing for a bit called Three-Legged Dog. And
I remember that too.
Put one record out on an indie label.
Yeah.
And we did some touring, a little bit of show, a few shows, a little bit of touring with that too. So we'd already known each other and played together, and we were all friends and mates. So, and McNabb, I've known for many years also.
Yeah.
It's an incestuous world among the musicians. This one's played with this one's played with this one, it's that kind of thing.
Yeah,
right.
I love that record, and I can't wait to hear what you guys have coming up. So if we rewind from the moment, you got into Jason Bonham's band.
Eventually I was in the right place at the right time with Bonham. I got a call, and I said, hey, Jason Bonham's looking for, new vocalist. And I was like, really?
What year is this?
94
or 5?
4?
Yeah.
Yeah, it must have been 94.
Yep.
And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, And the guy who called me, he passed about a year or so ago. They were looking at his singer, too. I'm not going to say who it is. But anyway, you would know. But And he goes, well, I know there's one guy to sing like Led Zeppelin kind of style better than him is you, right? He had a Southern accent. So anyway, I was like, okay. So he said, here, call. So I called his number. He gave me Phil Carson, who ended up turning out to be my manager later on, you know, with Jason. You know, and I called Phil and talked to him, and he said, all right, send me a CD, and I did, and I didn't hear anything for months. And then, you know, this is like the fall. So it was like late fall. So it was like the holidays and all that, right? And I decided one day in January, honestly, I was like, a light bulb went off in my head, and I was like, you know, I never heard anything back, and I haven't heard anything they hired anybody else. What happened with that, you know? So I just happened to call, and he's like, Charles. He always called me Charles, right? Charles, I can't believe that, you know, you must have ESP or something, you know, some vibes going through the air, because I was about ready to call you.
Yeah.
He goes, we've narrowed it down to about 10 guys, and you know, the holidays, we put everything on hold, but Jason just got into town and the band, and we've narrowed it down to about 10 guys, and you're one of them, you know? And I was like, really? He goes, yeah. He goes, have you done anything new since? And I said, yeah, actually I have. So I had sent him some, you know. So he said, you know what? Why don't you come meet with me? He goes, I was like, okay. So I went and met him at his office, and I played him some of the new stuff, and he loved it. Because they were looking for a Robert Plant, Chris Cornell kind of voice.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. Your voice is exactly that, too.
And that's what I was told, which is a huge compliment,
Yeah.
right? And then he goes, come with me. And he took me into a boardroom, and he goes, I'm going to play some of the songs that they've been recording, some of the ideas they have. And I'm telling you, as soon as he played it for me, I immediately was inspired. And I was like, I started singing melodies, you know, in the boardroom, okay, you know, out loud, wailing, you know. And he was like, all right. He goes, here, I'm going to give you the CD. Go record some vocals, some melodies. You know, you don't have to spend a lot of money. And it was funny because I did at Dave's studio in his basement at his house.
Wow.
That got me the gig.
Yeah.
So I did. And I like rang him back like a couple of days later. And I was like, Phil, and he goes, oh, yeah, Charles. I'm ready. What do I do? He goes, you already done? I go, oh, yeah. And it was a couple of Zeppelin songs too, because they wanted somebody on tour that could sing Zeppelin well also, right? And, you know. The rest is history.
Killer.
I mean, a few days later, I got the call. I went and met with Jace, you know, and we got on really well. We hung out all night. And then I was like, you know, like a week later, it's like, here's your itinerary. Yeah, and my whole life changed, you know.
What do you think there is, or maybe the question is there anything out there where we can see on YouTube of you performing with that
Yes,
lineup?
you know, it's funny. I saw on YouTube, it's me doing Stairway to Heaven with Jason. And in fact, that was the tour that Roy Z was on also. In, I think it's Santiago, Chile.
Okay.
But the problem is, it's, you know, they spelt it wrong. The guy who put it up, he says Bon Jam instead of Bon Ham.
Oh, see.
Because, well, you know, this probably the dictate, they speak Portuguese.
Right.
So in Brazil. So it says Jason Bon Jam Band. Right, Stairway to Heaven.
That's
It's pretty cool though, because I remember.
Yeah.
Oh God, the first show I did, I think it was Sao Paulo, Brazil, and they used to light like newspapers on fire, like torches at the end, you know. And they were, I mean, I was like a kid in a candy store. It was just like when I walked on stage, I felt like a gladiator. You know what I mean? And it was like the first song we did was Immigrant Song.
Oh,
and you see, you know, 50,000 fists going,
that's sick.
You know, like this. Yeah. And I was like, this is what I've been dreaming about for all these years.
Yeah.
All the ups and the downs and the dues I've paid and shit I've gone through, and I never gave up, and you know, never surrender. Right?
Never surrender. Yeah, hell yeah. So what is the set list like? Is it? I'm sure it's like Wait for You.
Oh, of course.
It's,
we did wait for you.
do you guys
of course.
close with that?
We did a lot of touring with that. I mean, Danny recorded it, but
Yeah.
I did a lot of touring with that song. We used to put that in the middle.
In the middle?
We'd open with like Immigrant Song or
Yeah.
something like that, and then Wait for You would always be a highlight
Yeah.
towards the middle
Oh,
to
yeah.
the end, and there'd be more Zeppelin.
Yeah.
And of course, if you really want to end things, you end with Stairway because you can't go any further than that.
Where do you
right?
go?
I mean, maybe even Whole Lot of Love. I think we would do that before Stairway. Sure.
You toured with Lynch Mob. I've always loved
Yeah.
all the Lynch Mob records.
Yeah.
So what records did you tour on? I see that you had, a couple times throughout the 2000s.
Right.
That you were in that band.
The first time was the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
It was 2003, 4, around there. And that was, I think George was kind of going through a transition at that point.
Yeah.
When he'd done like a record where, God, I can't remember what it was called, but he was trying to go grunge. He was like more of the grunge,
remember
right
it.
after the grunge era
Yeah.
and all that. But more people want to still hear the old classics. So we were doing a little of both.
Yeah.
right? And then again, I did that for about, but then, he and Oni kissed and made up again.
Yeah.
And Oni's a good friend. I've known Oni
Yeah.
for years, and it's like they're like an old married couple, And then that's like I'm the mistress, right? And then again, what was it? 2013, 14, I guess it was. No,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 11.
Okay.
11, and that was to my buddy Robbie Crane.
Oh, yeah.
He's a bro, and I've known for many years.
He was in our studio.
Oh, really?
And did an
Yeah,
episode.
I did see some of that on Facebook.
He's a great dude.
He's a great guy.
Great dude.
Oh, great guy to be on the road with.
Yeah, he sure is.
So Oni and George had a falling out again, and Robbie's like, "Come on, you want to do it?" And I'm like, "Okay." George and I always got along fine.
Yeah.
We got along great. I loved playing with him. He's a phenomenal guitarist,
Mm-hmm.
and a great dry sense of humor too,
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, sure. So we did it for a while, and then of course he and Oni, got back together again. But it was great. Yeah.
So let's talk about your tie-in with ChromaCast Sawtooth. It's ChromaCast, really, right? So
Right.
what products do you use from ChromaCast?
Well, I use the mics,
Yeah.
and the mic stand. And I've used the acoustic electric guitars for writing, and I'll probably eventually even use them on stage with Westbound. I haven't done that yet, but I probably will. But I have used it for writing,
Yes.
and I hope to use more.
Yeah. How long have you been with ChromaCast?
I guess 2016.
Oh, so it's been many years. Yeah.
Well, yeah, but everything was like I didn't get anything for like a year or so.
Yeah.
And then when the Westbound thing came about, I contacted Joe and said, "Hey," so I used the microphones for like the videos and things like that.
Yeah,
and
you've
the
got a
stand,
reason,
I love the
right.
stand. I love the tripod stand.
Yeah.
It's the old David Coverdale, Rod Stewart, kind of thing, right? What else? I don't know. I'm sure I'll be getting a lot more stuff.
Yeah,
but he's
absolutely.
such, they're great people. And Joe's such a great guy, and
Absolutely.
we relate. But
Well, Westbound, what a fantastic record. Everyone, check it out. I highly recommend it. I like to think that I'm somewhat of a critic. If I like to listen to something, more than a couple times, I'm maybe on my fifth, sixth listen in the last week of listening to New Westbound.
Thank you.
There's just a lot of sonic, really goodness in this record. A lot of ear candy.
Yeah.
Again, no weak link. The songs are great. The performances are great. There's a lot of cool stuff to listen to. A lot of hooks, too.
Thanks,
So
man.
congratulations
Thank
on
you.
Westbound.
We put our heart and
Volume
soul
1.
into it. I'll tell you that much.
Absolutely.
It was my first time. It was my record, solo record / band.
Yeah,
So I really wanted to make a point.
definitely. Well,
Make a
congratulations on
statement, as they say. Right.
that. Thanks so much for being on the show, Chaz West.
My pleasure, Greg. Okay. Cheers.
Try to love you, baby. I tried it all I can. You turn around and love me, darling, and love some other man. Bring it on home. I'll bring it on home. I seen her walk on downtown and messing with my head. My daddy needs some love, little girl, and baby, I just can't wait. Bring it on home. Bring it on home. Bring it on home. Bring it on home. on home. Bring it on home to me, baby.
Major thanks to Chaz West of Westbound for being a guest on our show. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to all of our socials on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and everywhere else on the web. This is Greg Marr with Go DPS Music Live. Thanks for watching. See you on the next episode.